Welcome to Morning Flow. Rocking from right to left, ground your sit bones into the mat, and then rest your palms on top of your knees, facing down. Sitting nice and tall, take a deep breath in through your nose. Then slowly exhale out through your mouth. Bringing your lips together now. Taking your inhales and exhales through your nose. Taking time here at the beginning to ground and to center yourself as you prepare for your practice. Slowly float your eyes open. Let's go ahead and begin. Inhale, lift and reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, release your palms down by your side. Inhale, lift and reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, relax your arms down by your side. Inhale, lift and reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, release your palms down by your side. Now tent the fingers of whichever arm you choose, connecting your ear to shoulder. And allow the untented fingertips to come and allow your arm to be dead weight on top of your head. Feeling the release through your neck, down your shoulder, maybe down the arm. Release your palm from overhead, bringing it to your cheek, and slowly lift your head back up to center, releasing that arm with tinted fingers down to your mat. And now, go ahead and connect the opposite ear and shoulder, and allow that same arm on that side to be dead weight, resting and relaxing on top of the head. Freeing the fingertips. You could wiggle them around if you need to. And slowly releasing your arm from over your head. Floating that palm up to your cheek and slowly lift your head back up to center. Releasing your fingertips and your palm down along your side. Now as you rest your palms on top of your knees, we'll begin or move through seated cat and cow. As you inhale, lift your chest up toward the ceiling. As you exhale, round your back body, connecting chin to chest, pressing to the wall behind you. Inhale, lift and reach your chest up. Exhale, round, press back toward the room behind you. Inhale, lift and reach. Exhale, round the back, pressing back. And now find your nice neutral spine again. Coming onto all fours now on your mat, with your wrists and shoulders aligned, knees hip distance apart, knees and hips aligned. We'll move through cat and cow on your mat. Exhale, tucking the chin in towards your chest, rounding your back. Inhale, lower your belly toward the mat and shift your gaze forward. Exhale, press the mat away, round your back. Inhale, lower your belly, shifting your gaze. Exhale, press away, round your back. Inhale, lower your belly toward the mat, gaze is slightly forward, and find your neutral spine now. Gaze down toward the mat. Nice and slowly now, your hips lift up and back into downward facing dog. Taking your gaze slightly forward, tiptoe your feet to the front of your mat, taking your time. Once you reach the front of your mat, slight bend in your knees, inhale, flat back, lift. Exhale, round the back, release your skull down toward the mat, and now slow roll roll up, one bone in the spine at a time, allowing your head to be the last thing to lift. Exhale, fold forward from your hips, slowly rolling up, one bone in the spine at a time. Shoulders lift up, back, and down. Tadasana. Inhale, lift and reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward from your hips. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Take a big step back with both feet. Moving into plank. Now bend your knees, tucking the toes. Lower chin, chest, and belly down to your mat as you exhale. Inhale sweeps you up for cobra, gaze is down. Exhale, lower your chest to the mat. Press your palms into the mat to lift you up onto all fours, realigning into tabletop, hips and shoulders, wrists and elbows, and sit the hips back toward the heels. Now for child's pose. Shift your gaze forward, returning to your tabletop position. Slowly step the right foot forward between your hands, cushioning your mat underneath your left knee if you need to. Inhale, lift your arms up overhead. Fingertips reach toward the ceiling. Exhale, slowly bending forward, framing your front leg. And now open up your chest, lifting your right arm, fingertips up toward the ceiling. Exhale, release the arm down to frame the leg, and then slowly release your right leg, right knee back alongside your left. Release the padding from under the left knee and slowly step your left foot forward. Pad the knee of your right leg if you need to, and then inhale, lift and reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, folding forward, framing the front leg, right palm stays down, left arm reaches, fingertips reach toward the ceiling, opening up your chest. Exhale, release your left palm down to your mat. And slowly step or bring the left knee back toward the right. Sitting your hips toward your heels into child's pose. Bring yourself back into your tabletop on your mat, tucking your toes. And slowly lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Right heel lifts toward the ceiling for down dog kick. Draw your right knee in toward your nose, and then quietly step it forward between your hands, framing the front leg. Back leg is straight and strong. Inhale, lift and reach both arms. Both fingertips reach toward the ceiling for high lunge. Exhale, fold forward over your front leg. Step your right foot back to meet your left. Hips lift up and back into downward facing dog. And then your left heel lifts up toward the ceiling for down dog kick. Exhale, draw your left knee in toward your nose. Step it quietly between your hands. Inhale, lift and reach. Arms, fingertips reach toward the ceiling. Exhale, fold forward over your front leg, stepping both feet back into plank. Lower both knees. Bend your elbows, lower chin, chest, and belly down toward your mat as you exhale. Inhale sweeps you up into cobra. Exhale, lower your chest to your mat. Press your palms into the mat to lift up to modified push-up. Hips toward the heels for child's pose. Lift back up into your tabletop position, aligning wrists with shoulders. In tabletop, hips lift up and back, downward facing dog. Right heel lifts for down dog kick. Right knee in toward your nose, step it quietly between your hands. Lift for high lunge. From high lunge, open up. The arms open up the chest, moving into warrior two. The outer edge of your left foot hugs your mat. Gazes down the middle finger of the forward arm. Fold forward. Pivot on the back foot to protect the knees. Step both feet back to full plank and hips lift, downward facing dog. Left heel lifts high for down dog kick. Draw your left knee in towards your nose. Step it quietly between your hands. Arms lift. High lunge. Exhale, hug the outer edge of your right foot to your mat. Arms open up for warrior two. From warrior two, moving into forward fold over your front leg. Step both feet back into full plank. Hips lift, down dog. From tabletop, hips lift up and back into downward facing dog. Right heel lifts for down dog kick. Draw your right knee in towards your nose. Step it quietly between your hands and lift for high lunge. From high lunge, move as you exhale into warrior two. Torso balanced over the hips. Inhale, reverse your warrior. From reverse warrior, move back into warrior two. And from warrior two, lower the forearm to the top of the thigh for extended side angle. Staying lifted out of your obliques. Fingertips reach. Gaze down now toward the floor. Arms come down to frame the front leg. Step both feet back into plank. Hips lift for down dog. Left heel kicks up for down dog kick. Left knee comes in toward the nose. Step it quietly between the hands. Lift the arms for high lunge. Exhale, open the arms for warrior two. Gazes down the middle finger of the forward arm. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, move back into warrior two, and then bring the left forearm down to the top of the thigh for extended side angle. Gaze is up, the fingertips, the right arm. Gaze is down toward your mat. Arms come down to frame the front leg. Step both feet back into your full plank. Lower your knees to your mat. Exhale, lower chin, chest, and belly all the way down to your mat. The inhale sweeps you up for cobra. Exhale lowers the chest. Press your palms into the mat. Lift up for modified push-up. Hips release back toward the heels for child's pose. From child's pose, the gaze is forward. Bring yourself back to tabletop, and then hips lift up and back into your downward facing dog. Gaze is forward between your palms and slowly tiptoe your feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift, palms to shins. Exhale, forward fold. Roll up one bone in the spine at a time, allowing your head to be the last thing to lift. Shoulders lift up, back, and down for Tadasana. Palms shine forward. Go ahead and shake it out here. I like to call this an Akshak twist, releasing any tension from the body by twisting from right to left, taking any extra movement if you'd like to. Slow down your rock, returning to Tadasana. I'm turning to face forward so that you can see me as we move into tree. Place the inside of your right foot on your shin, or use your hand to bring the inside of the right foot up into the inner part of the thigh for tree. Palms together at heart center. Or lift your arms up overhead for tree. Finding that spot on the floor that's not moving, exhale, bring your palms back to heart center. Holding your tree, release the foot from the inner thigh, maybe back down to the shin, or maybe it was always there. Float your right foot back down to your mat, release your palms down by your side, shake it out a bit, and now moving into the opposite side. Bring your left foot inside the shin, or if you like, manually lift your sole of the left foot into your inner thigh. Palms together, heart center. Notice the difference between sides. Inhale, lift and reach your arms up overhead. My left foot floated back down to my shin. Exhale, bring your palms together, heart center, strong tree. Rotate the left knee forward, release your foot down to the mat, release your palms down along your sides. Go ahead and shake it out. I'm stepping back to the front of my mat. Maybe you didn't move. Inhale, lift and reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward from your hips. Inhale, half lift, stepping both feet back into full plank. Hips lift up and back for downward facing dog. The right heel lifts for down dog kick. Exhale, draw your right knee in towards your nose and step it quietly between your hands. Inhale, arms lift, high lunge. Exhale, open up the chest, warrior two. Torso balanced over the hips. Flip your palm of the right hand up and exhale, release back to reversed warrior. From a reverse warrior, return to warrior two. Sitting a bit deeper into your warrior two, knee and ankle of the forward leg align. Bring your right forearm down to the top of your right thigh, opening up the chest for extended side angle, gaze up toward the left fingertips. Extend your right palm forward to work the obliques just a little bit more, balanced, using your core to hold you up. Bringing your right forearm back to your thigh, gaze down toward the mat, arms come down to frame the front leg, step both feet back, hips lift, down dog. Left heel lifts for down dog kick. Left knee comes in toward the nose. Step it quietly between the hands. Arms lift for high lunge. Exhale, open up the arms for warrior two, torso balanced over the hips. Flip your palm of your left arm. Exhale, reversing your warrior. Returning back to warrior two. Fold your front arm, moving into extended side angle. Left arm rests on top of the thigh, gazes up toward the right fingertips. Working your core a little bit more if you'd like to by extending your left palm forward, or obliques are working. To keep the torso lifted, bring that left palm back, left forearm back to the thigh. Take your gaze down toward your mat. Frame that front leg. Step both feet back into your full plank. Lower the knees to the mat. Bringing yourselves into tabletop. Slowly float your hips back towards your heels into child's pose. Lifting your gaze, lifting your forehead. Walk both palms over to your left side to stretch out the right side of the body. Right palm rests on top of the left. Lift your gaze, pedal the hands now over to your right side, extending right arm long, left palm rests on top of the right. Hips return back toward the heels to stretch out the left side of the body. From the torso all the way down, maybe to the hip. Lifting your gaze, returning yourselves back into child's pose, releasing the space between your brows down onto your mat. Lift your gaze. Float your torso forward, extending your legs out long. Elbows align with the shoulders for Sphinx. Gaze is forward. From Sphinx pose, slowly lower the torso down to your mat, folding your arms underneath your face, resting your forehead on your arms. Now we'll move into a bit of Shalabhasana, isometric contraction in the lower back, lifting your head and lowering your head back to your mat, back to the arms. And now we'll lift the legs and the torso and hold for an isometric contraction. Exhale, lower the head, lower the legs back to your mat. Slide your palms underneath your shoulders. Draw the legs in together, press, lift up, modified push-up. Again, the knees come together, heels come together. Sit the hips back to a child's pose. Again, with the legs, the knees, the ankles together. Lift your gaze, return the body to tabletop position. Have a seat. Now extending your legs out long, hands behind the thighs, actually knees bent, soles of the feet down onto your mat. And we're going to get into a bit of boat, hinging back from your hips, spine is tall. Keep the soles of your feet down on your mat and extend your arms up. You're welcome to maybe ground your heels on the mat. Toes toward the shins, core is engaged. Hands return to behind the thighs and then lift yourself back up. Soles of the feet come down to your mat. Let's see if we can add a little more. Hinge back from the hips. Fingertips extend forward and now lift your shins parallel to the ceiling. You're welcome to stay in option 1 or to challenge yourself and to move here. Navel's drawn in, you're balanced on your pelvis. Hold. Hands behind the thighs, lower your heels, lift the chest. Return to seated position. And now scoot your hips forward, making space on your mat. Hands behind the thighs, round your back and slowly lower yourselves down onto your back. Drawing your heels in closer to your seat. Press the soles of your feet into your mat. And slowly press the heels into the mat to lift up for bridge. Tucking your shoulders underneath. Maybe you interlace your palms underneath your hips or fingertips simply extend towards your heels. Find the hip lift and hold. The glutes are working, the hamstrings are working. Release the interlace of your palms and slowly articulating through your spine, lower your back down to your mat. Extend your right and your left soles of the feet up toward the ceiling for an inverted action pose without a block. You're welcome to place a block underneath your sacrum if you have one for inverted action pose. You would move into bridge, slide the block underneath your sacrum, then extend your legs up toward the ceiling. However, you have the option to choose the first option by simply lifting the soles of your feet up toward the ceiling without a block underneath your hips. Taking a moment here to allow the blood to run in the opposite direction. Slowly bend your knees, lowering the soles of your feet down to your mat. If you have a block underneath the hips, lift the hips off the block and slide your block from underneath your hips. Slowly lower your hips down to your mat. From here, heel toe the feet in toward one another. Knees touch, ankles touch, and lower your knees over to your left side, shifting your gaze right for a twist. Slowly lifting, transitioning the knees back up toward the ceiling. Lift your hips, shift your hips left, and slowly lower your knees over to the right now. Turning and shifting your gaze left. Arms are open wide at the height of the shoulders. Now lift both knees back up toward the ceiling, soles of the feet ground on the mat. Shifting your hips to align with your torso. Breathe in through your nose and exhale. Float your knees in toward your chest and take your forehead up to meet your knees. Taking circles of the knees in one direction for 3 counts. And changing directions for 3 counts. Then exhale, lower the head back to the mat. Draw your legs in towards your ribs for happy baby. Holding on to the outside edges of your feet. Draw the soles of your feet together over your hips, pressing your elbows into your knees and releasing the inner thighs. Bringing your hands to the outside edges of your knees, close your knees together, then float the soles of your feet down to your mat. Sliding the left heel out nice and long along the length of your mat, then sliding the right leg long along the length of your mat, relaxing and releasing your arms along the sides of your body, inhaling deeply, filling the lungs and belly with air. Exhale, release and relax it out as we're already in Shavasana. Allowing each exhale to bring a little more release to the body. Keeping your awareness on your inhales and exhales, allowing the bones to settle. Slowly bringing awareness back into the body by rubbing the fingertips together. And now bring tiny movements back into the feet by wiggling the toes. Maybe you rotate the head from right to left, taking the chin over to one shoulder and then releasing it and taking it over to the opposite shoulder. Taking a deep breath in through your nose. Pause, holding it at the top. Exhale, slowly releasing the breath. Bend your right knee, placing the sole of your right foot down on your mat. Bend the left knee, the sole of the left foot down on your mat. Lower both knees over to your favorite side, rolling over into fetal position. And hold. Press your palms into your mat now and slowly lift yourselves up to a comfortable seated position facing forward. Eyes closed. Palms rest at heart center for Anjali Mudra. Recalling the intention that you set at the beginning of your practice. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste.